Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the Morbheg Knights. Yes, from the new Flesh Eater Courts army set, sent to me early by Games Workshop to build up and paint for all of you, and I'm very excited because these are very cool. They're just awesome. Look at them. They're gross. So, we've got all three to do, but we've only got one painting handle. So, we're going to paint this one up. We're also going to do the banner and the instrument, and I will point those out when we get to them. But for now, we're just going to focus on this guy, and it's going to be the same unless I say otherwise. So, with all that in mind, we're going to jump in and we are going to start painting. He has been primed in white scar, just like the rest of the set. And the colour we're going to be using first is some Ratling Grime. I'm going to be applying this over the top of all of the mount's skin. Now, the easiest way to do this is to get up to the neck on both sides so you get a nice smooth face, and then by that point the kind of overlapping features are sort of done. So we're going to get up to here, as you can see, like this. I'm going to make sure that we do the back of the ear as well. We're going to do the underside and the top bit like that. We've got the eyes. This one's wearing a skull helmet, but the other two are not. So we're just going to get this like this, then we're going to flip it over, put this over the top of that hair at the front. And don't worry if you get this over the top of all of the teeth and everything like that. You can always fix things up with some white scar again later if you want to. And then we're just going to come in around here and get the underside of the neck done up to that fold just there in the model, just like this. And then once again, I'm going to come down behind the ear, make sure we get all of that, do the back of the ear, and then the top, and the underside, as well as the eye on this side as well. And then once we're done with that, I'm going to start painting this over the top of the rest of him. Now don't worry too much if it does get a little bit splodgy here and there. That's going to be okay, because we are going to do some cool things to sort stuff out. It's very simple but very cool little recipe I've got cooked up for you for your Morbheg Knights. And I should point out as well, although it's already been in the title at this point, that these are being painted in the colours of Morgaunt, just like the rest of the set has been. So with that Ratling Grime applied all over, as you can see it's a little bit patchy around here on the back, but that is okay, don't worry about it. We're going to be shading it down quite aggressively. But before we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion, and we're going to apply this over the top of any hair and fur and things like that. So we've got some just here on his chin, we've got the bits behind the head, and traditionally on these you have it going up the back as well, although this one is quite hairless. I say traditionally, these are brand new, so typically is probably the correct word there. So with that Black Legion all applied, we're now going to shade both those colours using a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Black Templar and Lahmian Medium. And we're just going to get this over the top of all of it. And this is what I mean by we're going to be shading it quite aggressively. We're going to be shading it quite darkly as well. We're just going to get this over the top. And once that's all done, we shall return. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Skeleton Horde. I'm going to move on to the next colour, which is going to be the skull helmet that our boy is wearing and the bone spars of his wings. Like that. Then we've got the wings. So with all that Skeleton Horde applied, we're now going to take some Flesh Tearers Red. And we're going to apply this over the top of the parts of the ears that we haven't done. In here. Like so. We're also going to apply this over the top of any of the kind of membraney bits between the limbs. Like that. Got some more back here, of course. And of course, we're also going to apply this over the top of the sinews in between the actual wings. So with that all done, base coats are now all on. It's looking pretty cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to brighten it back up. I'm going to start by taking some Stormvermin Fur. I'm going to use this to gently dry brush all of the skin. And all of the hair. So with that Stormvermin Fur dry brush applied, we're then going to take some Karak Stone. I'm going to do a really gentle dry brush of this now, over the top, looking to just kind of catch the sharpest points. And finally, we're going to take some Administratum Grey. I'm going to use this to dry brush over the top of the hair mostly. But if you've got any kind of scars or anything you want to also pick out here, such as this one just here, you can use this. I'm going to use this down the spine as well. Just adds a little bit more visual interest. So with that all done, all of the skin of our mount is now finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Carroburg Crimson. We're going to use this over the top of all of the red. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a tiny little bit of Squig Orange. I'm going to use this to pick out his eyes, but also to add a little spot highlight to all the red. That's one eye. And then towards the tips of those ears. Not very much at all here. And with that done, we're now going to finish off the mount by taking some thinned down Screaming Skull. I'm going to use this to pick out the teeth and the talons. You can use this to highlight all the bone, but I personally don't think it needs it. So with our mount now fully painted, what we're going to do next is move on to the rider, of course. So first thing we're going to do here is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Agrax Earthshade and Lahmian Medium. And we're going to apply this all over the top of our rider's skin. I'm going to do this across all three, of course, as we're still working away on the whole unit.
And whilst you're getting all of that Agrax Earthshade applied, it's time for me to tell you about our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Serious Readers. I've talked about them in the past, so you guys already know I really believe in their stuff. So when Serious Readers asked me to check out their high definition Gemini table light, you know I absolutely had to. It uses all the same great stuff as their floor light, especially their proprietary daylight wavelength technology to replicate the daylight spectrum as closely as technically possible, which makes a big difference on your eyes. The biggest feature here though is that it's not one, but two light engines on separate flexible arms, giving you optimal coverage of your painting space, a light source to share with someone else, or a perfect setup for taking photos of your miniatures. They're built right here in the UK, as Serious Readers is a British company pioneering research into improving sight through shedding better light, relying on replicating the natural daylight spectrum that our eyes have evolved to use. They offer a 5-year warranty and are recommended by over 500 independent opticians. They're also super cool folks with excellent customer service, so much so that when I asked for a colder bulb, they sent me one, or in this case two, along with 2 diffusers to make my life even better. Check out Serious Readers today, and if you pick one up and use offer code SR489, you can get £100 off high definition lights and free delivery. Find out more in the links below.
So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown and we're going to apply this over the top of the hair. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion. We're going to apply this over the top of the cloth and the hair on the head, on his head. And with that Black Legion all applied, we're then going to take some Black Templar. I'm going to use this over the top of any belts and any straps. Such as this belt just here. Up on his hip and on his other hip. Like this. This one does come around on the inside as well, like that. And what we also have is we have things like the little cable ties on his sword hilt. Like that. A little bit too much paint. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is going to take some Guilliman Flesh and we're going to apply this over the top of the reins. Like so. And we're also going to apply this over two of the skins on the shield. So we've got one here. Like this. Which kind of stretches along here. Like that. There we go. Got this bit of the reins as well to do. Like that. And then we're also going to do this skin up here. Now don't worry about the banner just yet. We will get to that. So with that now done, we're going to then take some Wyldwood. I'm going to apply this over top of the other skin, stretched over the shield. What we're also going to do with the Wyldwood is we're going to apply this over the top of all of our ghoul's teeth, eyes, toenails, and fingernails. So with that all done, it's now time to take some Gryph-Charger Grey, and we're going to apply this over the top of their head up here. It's not looking well. And with that all done, we're then going to take some Skeleton Horde. I'm going to apply this over the top of any bones. So we've got the bony bits on the sword. Like that. Got this one poked through the skin at the back here. I think that's it for him. Oh no, we got one right in here as well. And so with that all done, it's now time to take some thinned down Iron Warriors, and we're going to apply this over the top of pretty much all of the metallics. However, you might have some alternate italics, for example, some areas on some of the shields. So what we're going to do is we are going to add a little bit of variation, but for now what you can do is you can just get Iron Warriors over all of it if you wish to. That is entirely up to you. So with that done, we're then going to take some thinned down Castellax Bronze, and we're going to use this as our alternate metallic. So you want to just kind of create a little bit of variation, like painting the trim of this shield. You absolutely can do so. I'm not going to use much here. It's just enough to add a little bit of a different tone to the model. So with that all done, all of our base coats are now on this guy. However, they're not all on all of the models. So I'm going to pop this one off because I've only got the one. I'm going to start with our Herald here. As you can see, we're at exactly the same stage. We've done all the same colours and all that good stuff all the way around. But what we do have is this part of the horn. So what we're going to do very simply is we're going to take some Guilliman Flesh. I'm going to apply this over the top of this kind of binding round here, although it's not the end of the horn bit because we do have the little rope around it. So I'm going to apply this like this. Just like that. And we shall come back to finish it off in just a second. However, we're going to pop this one off the handle. We're going to pick up our banner. There we go. So now, similarly, we're still with the Guilliman Flesh. What we're going to do is we're going to paint this over top of the banner. Sticking with this guy just for the moment, we're going to take some skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of the skeleton. And with that done, we're then going to take some Ratling Grime and we're going to apply this over the top of the wrap on the banner. Like that sort of thing. We'll do the top half, but what we're also going to do, don't need the handle for this, is we're going to take that Ratling Grime and we're going to apply this over the top of that little cable tie. And so for our final base coat, we're going to take some Wyldwood and we're going to apply this over the top of the wood of the spear. So with that all done, all of our base coats are now on our banner bearer, as you can see. So we can pop him off. As are they on this individual, as are they on this individual as well. So what we're going to do now is going to add a layer. So before we do any of the shading, we have to relayer the skin because we want it to be nice and bright. So the colour we're going to be using for that is some thinned down Pallid Witch Flesh. What we're going to do is we're just going to get in here and start layering this Pallid Witch Flesh over the top of all of the skin, just avoiding any of the recesses along the way. So with that Pallid Witch Flesh now all applied, what we're going to do is we're going to add those shades. And the first of these is going to be some Carroburg Crimson, where we are going to do a little bit of blending here. But firstly, what we are going to do is we're going to apply this over the top of their faces. Just like that. Nice and simple. But what we're also going to do, we're going to apply this over the top of the feet. Like this. Make sure we get it over the underside and around the corner. And then we're going to also bring this up the leg. Like that to the knee. Wash the brush. Touch off the water. And then we're just going to feather away at the transition so we get a nice little blend into the Carroburg Crimson on the feet. And we're also going to do this on the hands. We come in here, apply it like that. Coming up there. We're going to wash the brush, and you'll only need to do it from this angle on this guy. I'm just going to feather away at that transition. Similarly, because he's got armour on his other arm, we're going to apply this over the top of the hand, like that. And just over that bit as well. Like that. We've got the other foot to do, but specifically to this guy, we're going to add a little bit of this in all of the gaps in the skin. Like that. Similarly, well, slightly differently, what we're going to do on the banner here is we're going to apply the Carroburg Crimson around these wounds, like this. Bring it down this way a little bit. We're going to wash the brush, and then we're going to blend it at either end. And on the actual banner itself, we're going to apply Carroburg Crimson. Just like that at first. Then we're going to wash the brush. And then we're just going to make it look a little bit more patchy than that. So we're just going to kind of feather away most of it. We're just creating like a little blend and things. Like that, just to kind of soften that pink effect on the banner. However, along here, we're going to apply it, coming over the corner like that. Going to wash the brush. Going to blend it out. Got a little bit of bruising just here. And here as well. Add some in there, put some over the hand. I'm going to wash the brush. And then just go in there. Kind of clean it up and tidy it up a bit. Like that. And we'll do that on the other side as well. And so with that done, I'm now going to add our next shade, which is going to be some Agrax Earthshade, and we're going to apply this over top of all of our metallics. So with those shades applied, our Morbheg Knights are at what I would call a Warhipster battle ready, and they're already looking amazing. But we're going to take them further, and we're going to do this by adding just a couple of highlights. There aren't that many to do. Now the first of these highlights is going to be some thinned down white scar. I'm going to use this to do two different things. Firstly, I'm going to use this to paint in the eyeballs of our knights. Like that. And over time a little bit more. Turn the model sideways. And drop that dot right there. Like that. Secondly, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to use this to highlight their flesh. Now we don't need to highlight any of the pinker bits. We just need to add a couple of highlights here and there to their pale skin. So with that all done, what we're then going to do is take some Screaming Skull. I'm going to use this to pick out teeth, fingernails and toenails. So with that Screaming Skull all applied, we're now going to take some thinned down Skrag Brown. And we're going to use this to highlight the hair on their backs. So with that done, we're now going to take some thinned down Ironbreaker. I'm going to use this to highlight all the metallics, including the bronze. Gives it that kind of more weathered look. So with that all done, our Morbheg Knights are pretty much finished. The only thing left to do, and it is kind of optional, is to take some blood for the blood god. And we're going to use this to add a little bit of weathering and sort of gore and things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of this around these bones protruding from the Morbheg's arm. I'm going to wash the brush here. It's a little bit heavy in places. Just going to go in there with a clean brush. Just sort that out just a little bit. And do the same thing over on here. That's better. Like that. I'm also going to add some of this little areas around the shield. Like that. Have a little bit more. Add some around the face. Like that. Grab a tiny little bit more. Gonna add some spots of it on the shield. Sort of shield? That's a sword. Just like that. It's really up to you. I always believe less is more in these situations, but for many people, more is more. There we go. We can also do some, for example, on the banner. We can just like add little bits of it here. Add some spots of it on the main body of the flag, make it look grisly as heck. Like that.
So with their bases all complete, our Morbheg Knights are now finished. And I think they look absolutely fantastic, really cool in the Morgaunt scheme that we've been doing. And so you should have the beginnings of a really cool little Morgaunt force. More ghouls for your Morgaunt? More? More? Did someone say more? We want more. Give me more Flesh Eater Courts. Give them to me now. I'm hungry! If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.